Hey everybody, this is your co-host Vanessa, and this is a special edition of the Damsels in Debate podcast called the Dorks in Debate.
Dorks in Debate.
This is going to deviate away from our standard podcast format.
Yes, there's we love movies, we love everything about movies, and we love talking about everything about movies, but there's some topics we could just go on and on about that aren't going to fit into our normal weekly podcast, which we try to keep that to about an hour.
Yeah, we don't want to have a 3-hour podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, we're going to start something. We're going to try it out, see how it works. And for our initial one, what was our initial topic for this episode?
For this one, it was going to be our top 5 movie scenes ever.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be from a certain genre. It can be any type. It could be action. It could be for the music. It could be for the acting. It's just your top 5 that stays in our minds that always think man, that's such a great movie scene.
Yeah, or it makes you have a shiver run down your spine, or the hair on your arms stand up.
And just want to let everybody know, before you send hate mail, this is just our personal favorite movie scene.
Yeah,
totally.
totally.
There's plenty of movies I know that neither of us have seen that are great movie scenes. It's just we haven't seen. This is just what is in our minds that pops up as a great movie scene.
You know what we could do also? Maybe we could put these on Facebook. We could post the YouTube clips, because I know most of mine are on there, or maybe our favorite on there.
Yeah, we'll do that.
And of course, we want to know yours if you've got some really good ones. But yes, these are our favorite, and we kept it down to 5.
Yes, which was very difficult, but we did.
Yes, it was. Now, the only thing I will add is that Vanessa is a little bit better than I am. She actually has hers graded. Mine, I don't have mine really. My 5 really get to me, and I really like them, but I'd be hard pressed to find one that's like my absolute favorite. So
yeah, mine was pretty simple to number mine.
All right, so we're just gonna jump right into it. So,
all right,
want to start us off?
Yes, I will. My number 5 is it was actually your first Clearing the Queue movie, I think, which is Blade Runner.
Oh yeah.
Yes, my number 5 movie scene was the Tears and Rain scene, which is actually quite a popular scene that a lot of people talk about. It was quite a moving scene, but it's Rutger Hauer, and he's just expressing because he's a replicant, his desire to live, and just the scene, the sadness of his failure to to be able to get more life is really hard to take.
Right.
And I love the scene because the music is really sad. The rain makes it the atmosphere. The lighting is really good.
Yeah.
And then his acting, he's like, I've seen things, and all this will be lost, like tears and rain. And then Harrison Ford's expression, wow, he finally realizes that these replicants are more human than most humans are.
Right.
So it's just sad, and that's and I just love the acting and everything. So that's
that scene for you. It's everything, but the real driving force is the acting.
Yes. The
so
acting.
Rutger Hauer
I think
really
that's all
kills it.
my choices. Really, is the acting.
The acting. Yeah. All right, that's a good one. Yeah, I do like that scene, and I know what scene you're talking about.
Because you've seen it, because I made
because
you.
I've seen it now. Yes, I can add to this conversation. Okay, let's see. The first one I'll go with off of my list is the opening scene to 28 Weeks Later, which is the sequel to 28 Days Later. I had seen this movie, back a while ago, and I never saw 28 Days Later. The only thing I knew is that they were fast-moving zombies. That's all I knew. So it opens with this guy, Robert Carlyle, I think, and it's him and his wife, and then a bunch of other people that are kind of holed up in a house in the countryside. And so it's, I figure we're going to establish some relationships and see who's who, and who's the alpha male and who's the jerk, and that kind of thing. And I figure you're going to be with these characters for a little while. And no, a zombie, I think, bursts through the doorway or the window. And that's the hole. So a bunch of them start coming in, and people start dying left and right. And I'm like, oh, I thought these were going to be main characters.
Nope.
No. And what is it? I think they get upstairs, him and his wife. And then the kid, I think, separates from them. And so, of course, the wife, the motherly instinct thing, she goes after the kid and tries to get the kid to come with them. And that ends up being a bad idea because they get trapped by the zombies. And so the guy, the Robert Carlyle, I don't remember the name of the movie, but anyway, he has a way to escape, and he gets out of the house, but it's just him.
Yeah,
and his wife, his wife's in there, and the kid's in there, and then I think he's running, and you can see in the background, his wife is looking out the small window, and she can see him running away, but she can't get to him because she's trapped. And then he runs. He's got zombies chasing after him, and he runs out onto this like a little dock because they're right by a lake. And he gets on this boat and he paddles and he gets away, but he's lost all these people and stuff. And it was just
He's a coward. He left them.
Yeah. So yeah, it's all these emotions because it's like, okay, he made it, but yeah, he
At a big
didn't.
cost.
Yeah, he didn't help them out, and it's it just set up the movie for me. The movie itself is pretty good. I do like the movie. It's not the best movie, but I thought that was so horrible, and I wasn't expecting that right off the bat. That's like the first scene of the movie.
I just thought about later on when he comes back in and because she has that weird thing where she doesn't get infected. That whole scene, I had to fast forward through that because I can't take it.
Yeah, but that was really it was between that one and then the opening scene. Oh man, well, you haven't seen Dawn of the Dead, but there's the opening scene of that movie. Really, I was just like, oh, I'm psyched now. I was just really into it because it's like everything's totally fine, and then everything goes to shit in like 5 seconds, and people are dying. All these people that you've been with for so long, and they're just dead. They're just dead, and running like fast. You have to be fast and think really quickly, and just all that. So all that just in this like 5-minute scene or something. So that really got to me. I was psyched after that. But yeah, it was kind of a toss-up because both of them are similar, that they're opening scenes and that they're zombie movies. It's different characters and stuff. And I won't really go into detail with the Dawn of the Dead one until you see it because I love that movie. But yeah, I was all like amped up after I saw it. So yeah, that's one of my top 5.
All right. My number 4 movie was The Odyssey, which I don't think you've seen.
Right.
It actually was a TV movie that they put on DVD, but it's with Armand Assante, who I actually love as an actor. And it's a scene at the end. I call it the slaying of the suitors, basically, because what happens is Armand Assante is Odysseus, and he's been away for almost 20 years from his wife and his son. His wife had just given birth to his son before he had to go into battle.
Okay.
And this movie goes into the whole Trojan horse thing. It goes where he's with the giants, and he's the whole movie's about him trying to get back to his family, to his land.
One quick thing: are the sirens in the movie too?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So,
I remember that part of the story, but anyway, go ahead.
So while he's been fighting to return home for 20 years, Penelope, his wife, has been dealing with these suitors, like all these different people from different countries that come over and are living off her land, like forcing themselves upon her, basically like eating all the stuff and everything,
I remember
and trying to get her to marry them and stuff because they want Ithaca, which is their land. But she had made a promise to Odysseus that she would not remarry if he didn't come back. She would not remarry until their son grows a beard on his chin.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, and it's at that point. So, what Penelope has decided to do is to hold a competition for her hand. And the competition is they have to string Odysseus's bow that he had left there, and they have to shoot it through the handles of 12 axes. Like they have a little circle to do that. And meanwhile, Odysseus is actually returned, but if he tries to walk in and just into the castle as himself, he would be killed by all the suitors. So with the help of the goddess Athena, she has disguised him as an old man.
Okay.
So as like a servant. So he's in the same room as the suitors, like sitting there just watching them as his old man. And so they're all struggling trying to string the bow. They can't even string the bow. And the one guy, like the leader suitor, he's like, if I can't do it, no one alive can do it. Because they all think Odysseus is dead, you know?
Yeah.
And so the old man goes over and picks up, what about a man who is dead? And they're all watching him. So he strings the bow, shoots through the arrow, and they're all looking at the arrow, and they're like, seeing it go through, and they're like, who are you? And then it goes back to Odysseus, and he's actually his true self now.
Oh,
okay. You know who I am now. And so, and then he and his son is actually in there too, and they start getting ready to kill them all. And the one guy who had said no one alive can do it is saying like, wait, what's our crime? And this is the main part of the scene I like. Odysseus like, your crime is you tried to steal my world, a world I built with my hands, my sweat, and my blood. A world that I shared, I mean, he says this a lot better than me. A world that I shared with a woman who bore me my son, and no one will ever take that from me. And now you will all die tonight in a river of blood.
Oh.
And then they pursue to slay all the suitors. And it's it's an awesome scene. Like the way Armand Assante delivers the lines.
Yeah.
And the way it's all set up, like, oh, you know who I am now.
Right.
It's like, what a badass.
Oh, that sounds good, yeah.
It's a great movie. It's action. The effects, it's an older movie. I think it's from early 80s, possibly. But I love that movie.
Yeah, I remember you talking about it.
Finally reunited with Penelope in the end. awesome. So that's my number 4.
Okay, that sounds good. Yeah, I like that. Let's see. Another one I have on my list is the T-Rex attack in Jurassic Park.
That was actually one of mine, and I took it off of there because
really?
I thought for sure you would put it.
Oh, we'll see. Okay, we almost had one that was the same then. Okay. I mean, I don't even need to explain that scene to anybody.
I think everyone's seen
but
that.
oh man, just when the pieces of the fence come apart and it's like, and then the post starts swaying, so the fence is completely down, like it's not going to work.
And the noise too,
yeah. And the thunder and the lightning. Oh my god!
All the elements of that scene are scary.
Yeah. Yes, and it comes out and you see how massive it is, and then the kid has the because the lawyer guy left the door open, the car door open, so he can see it through there. And then he slams the door, and then the thing looks down at him real quickly.
Those teeth,
man, I love that scene because it's just like you're like, oh, and it's even when you go to like a zoo or something, it's like, oh, well, there's a fence there, it's fine, but what if the fence didn't work?
Yeah,
yeah. So yeah, I love that scene, and like I said, I don't really even need to explain it because that's a pretty obvious scene how awesome it is.
How awesome Steven Spielberg is.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I love that whole movie, but that scene just... I fell in love with that movie right then and there.
Yeah, you and I, actually, we saw that when they released it in 3D for a short period of time. And that scene, again, like in 3D, it was just like, God, I love this scene.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Classic movie moments.
Yeah, it's scary, and you're just like, oh, shit, I don't even know.
All right, good choice. My number 3 was actually from your movie for this week, is Braveheart.
Oh, okay.
And it's a scene where he actually meets with the princess, because basically during the movie, William Wallace is actually starting to win and like get closer to the king. And what the king realizes is that he's like, okay, I need to send like someone to give a peace offering, to like quell this rebellion.
Right.
And he's like, well, I can't go. They'll kill me. I can't send my son because his son is actually gay. In the movie, he said they'll have fun killing him too.
Oh,
He's like, who shall I send? So he sends his son's he newly married the Princess of Wales.
Okay.
So he sends her to negotiate with William Wallace. And in the scene, what the princess does is she tells William Wallace, like, the king desires peace. He's like, Longshanks desires peace. She's like, he declares it to me, I swear, and if you accept this offer, he will give you land and titles, and she tells him all this stuff, and it's like, in this chest of gold, and he's like, land, titles, so that I may become Judas, and because basically, like, he'll be quitting all that he's been fighting for. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And she's like, oh, peace is made in such ways. And he all of a sudden he yells out, slaves are made in such ways.
Okay.
And he just Mel Gibson, man. And then he's got these blue eyes, and she's like shocked. And just that line, the slaves are made in such ways. And just, then the dialogue before that too, like she has a servant there, like a man who tells her in like Latin, I think, like he's just a lying savage, blah blah blah. But William Wallace actually interrupts in Latin saying, I do not lie. And they're all like, oh, he speaks that. And then he also speaks French, so that's also cool. Like, yeah, that's right. So it's a great scene, a dialogue between the two of them. So
I'll be looking for that scene then when I watch it.
Get chills in that scene. You'll like that scene. The slaves are made in such ways.
Oh man, I like doing this. This is fun.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. Another scene that I have is I don't know if have you seen Saving Private Ryan?
No, I have not.
Oh boy. Yeah, you got to watch that movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to talk about the scene. It's the opening scene of the movie, but it's
okay. We're not giving away too much then.
No, actually not at all.
Yeah.
But the opening scene. No, I'm sorry. It's not the opening scene of the movie, but it's towards the very beginning of the movie, and it's the D-Day invasion. And up until this, when did this come out? Like 98 or something like that. And all the war movies I've seen before that, not that I've seen a lot of them, but they're all, it's grim and stuff, and it's sad and everything. But this movie was I had a whole new appreciation for war veterans and stuff, because it's the way it was shot and the acting. It's extremely realistic, and it's very graphic and sad, because it's you got these guys coming up on these ships, and they come out on the sand. They're getting picked off as soon as they come off the boat and stuff. With they're getting shot and stuff. and it's so chaotic because like they got to get up on it. They got to take the beach, you know. I don't know how familiar you are with the D-Day and all that stuff.
Well, I know that they won. I thought, storming Normandy or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, yes, they do finally take the beach, but there's so many casualties, and it's like there's this one guy, he's laying on the ground, he's crying, and he's like holding his intestines, and then there's another guy who, a bullet ricochets off his helmet. And he's like, oh, man. And he looks at it and he gets shot in the head right after that. There's guys that are getting shot in the water. Like, they don't even get onto the beach. It's really, really crazy. Like, it's
awful.
Yeah. I mean, it is awful, but I really think you should see it. And it's very, very sad. The movie in general is sad. I'm not going to lie. I cried a lot watching that movie. But you should see it. It's really good. And all the performances in the movie are really good. It's a Steven Spielberg movie.
They won a bunch of awards, didn't they? Academy
It
Awards?
did, yeah. But that scene is phenomenal. It's really, you're just like, you can't say anything afterwards. You're just like sitting there. And it's like, I gotta process all that information. But it's the way it's shot, and it's just all these different men. So I wouldn't say there's like one key actor or anything. Everybody's. It's so chaotic. You really feel like you're there. And yeah, it's a really powerful scene.
Okay, I believe you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll put it on my queue. I need to start writing these down because we say it's like, you need to put that on your queue.
I know. Yeah,
what movie did you tell me to see again? Like Bridget Jones. Okay, Saving Private Ryan. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
You need to see The Odyssey too. So.
Yeah, I think I have that written down though, because I remember that was one of the first ones you told me actually.
Okay, my last two they kind of go head to head, so I just put 2 and 1, but they're both like my top favorite 2 scenes. They're totally 2 different scenes. But so I'll just put my number 2 is actually from Constantine with Keanu Reeves, and it's the scene where he meets Lucifer. And have you seen Constantine?
Yes, I have.
Okay, it was at the end where in order to stop what was happening with Gabriel and Lucifer's son, like he basically cuts his wrist because he had heard through the grapevine, because of all the demons he had killed, that Lucifer would come down to get Constantine's soul personally, basically, which is true, because Peter Stormare shows up, and he's Lucifer, and does an amazing acting job.
He's in like a white suit too, isn't
yes,
he?
He's in a white suit, and actually one thing I love is that his feet have tar on him. Because he's like been in burning hell. Like I thought, well, that's very symbolic.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I remember that.
He showcases very well the struggle to contain the inner beast, like inside, like the inner devil, because he one time he's smiling, and then he like does this like, I can't even imitate it. It's like, like he's like busy. He's like, and he's like holding his head.
Yeah, a lot going on.
But just the acting and his creepy yet compelling voice, like, hello, John.
Yeah, he's good at that.
His makeup is good too. He has like some tattoos you can see. You can't really tell what they are, but then he has like blue and red veins on his face.
It was subtle, but it worked. Like you could tell there was something.
Like
up.
He definitely like you could tell like, man, that's an evil guy right there. So just his interaction with Keanu Reeves' character Constantine was just, I love that acting. And he's like, you're the one soul I come down to collect myself.
Yeah.
But then when Constantine, like, this is the rest of the scene when he tells them, like, they're in the other room, they got the Spear of Destiny, which I'm not going to go into detail about all that. And so time, that's what's cool about it too, is time pauses when either, I guess, God or the devil or a demon comes to take the soul. Time pauses while they're doing that, while they're getting their judgment, basically. And so he makes the door explode to the other room. You see all the particles are just in midair. Yeah. And he's like, this world is mine in time. Like, you of all should know that, Gabriel, and he's just like, again, like another badass moment. Yeah. It's just like, not that I cheer for the devil, I just love Peter Stormare, and I just love that. Like, it just gives you chills. Yeah. Like, oh man, because he is, if you believe in the devil, he's a powerful, like, he's scary. He can do a lot of stuff. So, So yeah, that scene, I thought just Peter Stormare is a great actor in that scene. Yeah, that is a good scene. I have seen that movie. I haven't seen it in quite a while, but I definitely remember that scene. So yeah, good one. Good choice. Thanks. I have one honorable mention I want to do at the end. We'll do that at the end. Okay. But there's just one thing I really wanted to put it in, but I was like, nah, I can't. Okay, so let's see. My second to last one or on my list here. Okay. Yeah. This scene. Have you seen the movie Zodiac with okay, that came out, I
think in 2007, somewhere around then. I'm not totally sure. It was a pretty good movie. I remember it being a bit long. I only saw it once. And it was, it was a pretty good movie, but I haven't really ever had the urge to watch it again. But there's this one scene that's in the movie that creeped the hell out of me. And my sister, I think she started tearing up when she saw the movie. She's like, that was horrible. Oh my God. And I haven't, I just remember the scene. So I went on YouTube earlier today and watched the scene again. And I was like, oh God, this is horrible. Why did I watch it again? And it's like, it's not the opening scene or anything like that. I don't remember exactly where it is in the movie, somewhat towards the beginning. But there's a couple sitting out by the lake. They're just chit-chatting about stuff. And the girl is, she's leaning on her boyfriend's stomach and they're talking. And she's like, oh, there's somebody here at the lake with them. And he's like, oh, whatever. I don't care. And she's like, oh, he's watching us. He's coming over here. And so, like, it cuts in between her, like, a close-up of her talking and the person who's watching them. And the person that's watching them is all in black. And they're not there with, like, a car or anything. And it's so fucking creepy. Like, the way they do it. Oh, my God. So then he starts walking up to them. And he's got a gun. And so, of course, they get up and they're all startled and everything. And he, what does he do? He asks for the guy's like keys and wallet and all that kind of stuff. And his face is all covered. You can't see his face. And the boyfriend's like, oh, here, we've given you everything. So why don't you just let us go? And so he tells the girlfriend to come up. The killer guy tells the girlfriend to come over and gives her some stuff to tie the guy's hands. So he gets both of the people where their hands are tied behind their back. And they're laying down on the ground. And he walks away. So you think, oh, well, he's just going to rob them or something, Mm-hmm. But no, he comes back and he has a knife in his hand. So, like, you see him walking back, but it's from, them laying on the ground. So it's their point of view. So you see him coming back and he's got a knife in his hand. And he stands on top of the guy and he starts stabbing him in his back. He stabs him like a whole bunch of times. So there's no music in the scene. And it looks really, really realistic. And then he does the same thing to the woman, and you see him stabbing her. And I think he stabs her a couple times in the stomach too. And it's so creepy. It is oh man.
I am not seeing that movie.
Well, I'm gonna put the scene on Facebook so you can watch it there. But it is creepy as hell.
And he had a gun too. He just wanted to stab them.
Yeah. He didn't want to rob them. Like, that wasn't he wanted to kill them. Like, that was the point. But like, when he first shows up, he's just like walking over to them and he's all in black. And then she's like, oh, he's watching us. And then he like goes and stands behind a tree for a minute and then comes out from behind. Like, it's so creepy. Oh my God. I can't even take that scene. Like, oh God. And the fact that there's no music. And also, I mean, I don't know exactly how true it is, but that movie's based on a true story. Like, all that stuff really happened. So it makes it even worse. But yeah, that scene. Oh, I was stressed.
That sounds like really a movie stressed. I would not like. Just like I saw the movie Straw Dogs, like the remake of it, with because I was like, oh, Alexander Skarsgård should be good. But there's a rape scene where like he rapes her and then his friend rapes her. I was like, oh, this is awful. I hated that movie.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Well, no, this I think that's added to it because it was a true story. Mm-hmm. But oh man, creepy, really creepy. But it made an impression on me because I've only seen it twice now. But it's like I can't deal with it. So, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, something totally opposite from that movie. My number one is actually from a movie called Immortal Beloved. It stars Gary Oldman. I actually have a poster of it in my cubicle. Okay. I'm like,
I know that title.
He plays Beethoven. Basically, it's like the life of Beethoven. And after Beethoven had died, he had a letter saying, with his will, giving it all to his immortal beloved.
Okay.
So, and that's actually based on a true story. He actually did have a letter. So, the movie is about them trying to find all the women that were in his life and trying to find out who this immortal beloved is. Mm-hmm. But during this one scene, Beethoven actually wants to marry this daughter who's like part of like a rich family, you know, and the Beethoven hadn't been playing for a while. He's just been teaching. And so people were starting to believe that he couldn't play anymore. Okay. And so the daughter's dad says, I'll only allow you to marry him if you can prove that he can still play.
Oh, okay.
Because I think the dad already had the suspicions that something was going on with his hearing.
Oh, okay.
So what happens is that she writes Beethoven a note saying, like, I have this new piano, I've sent everybody away from the house, so come in and try out this new invention undisturbed. And so what they do is they kind of hide in this kind of like a panic room, it looks like.
Oh, okay.
And they're watching him. And I love the shot, too, because it's actually, it starts out kind of through their pinholes. So you got the black around it. And you see him sit down at the piano and stuff. And, oh, my God, he takes out the cover so that he can rest his head on it, but it doesn't cover the keys yet. And he's resting his head, and at first he starts just banging on the keys, and the girl is all like, she starts crying because she thinks, oh, he really can't play. And then he all of a sudden starts playing Moonlight Sonata, which is my favorite piece by Beethoven. And he's sitting there, and it's Gary Oldman, and he's just sitting there, and he has his head against it, and he's straining to hear it because he's deaf.
Oh, right.
And he cannot hear it, but he's playing it, and he has this look on his face. He's like hitting the keys, and he's just... It's so sad because you tell because he's a genius and he just all he wants to do is hear what he's playing and he just can't, and it's just Gary Oldman. He should have won an Oscar for this role, but actually this movie came out the same year as Forrest Gump, so it had no shot at all.
Okay.
So, but oh man, and I watched that scene again. It gives me chills, and I love the song, and I just love the his expression on his face. It's mainly just the acting, and then the music is good, and then it ends because she ends up scaring him because she comes out and she like touched him on the shoulder and he didn't hear her. And then he's like, it was so wrong of you to do this to me, because he didn't want people to see him playing, I guess, or something.
Right. Okay.
Oh, it's such a great movie. So, but yeah, I have a screenshot of him like with his head on the piano as a poster. I have it up at work. A couple of people come by saying like, I love that movie. It's Gary Oldman. Like, yeah, it's not as well known, but it's
because I've never heard of it until you brought it up. Yeah. It sounds very moving.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. So that's my number one.
Cool. Well, my last scene is a little different than my other ones. But I have emotion, people. Everybody acts like I don't have any emotions. But
I do have a heart.
Yeah, I'll have you know, I watched this before you came over here, and I actually teared up a little bit watching it.
Big baby.
This scene it's the you jump, I jump scene from Titanic, where they've got the lifeboats going down, and the ship's definitely sinking, and Jack and Cal convince Vanessa has goosebumps right now, everybody.
I'm thinking about the scene.
And Cal and Jack convince Rose to get on the boat, and Jack's like, yeah, there's another boat coming, and Cal's like, yeah, he's gonna take both of us.
Total lie.
Everybody knows that he's lying, and so she gets on the boat, and you see her looking up at Jack, and they both have this really sad look on their faces because it's they're getting separated. Jack's not gonna make it on one of those lifeboats, and it's it's really sad. And there's like the flares and not flares, the fireworks going off in the background, so you got these like bright shining light and stuff. And she can't take it, so she jumps back on the ship. And she looks like she really hurts her stomach. But anyway, jumping back on the ship. But anyway, she gets back on, and then that, the Titanic music. I don't know exactly how it goes, but you know what I'm talking about. Yes. That starts playing, and it's really emotional. And she starts running, to go find him, and he's yelling at her because he doesn't want her to get back on the ship because he doesn't, he wants her to live and everything. So then he starts going, he's running around looking for her, and he's got this like pain look on his face, and her too, like she's getting really, really upset. And then then they meet up and they hug, and he's like, "You're so stupid, Rose. You're so stupid." And he's like, "Why'd you do that?" Yeah. And she's like, "You jump, I jump, right?" And then, that's it. Like, then they hug again.
Oh, God, I couldn't go.
Oh, God. Yeah, it's, I love that scene. I remember in the movie theater when I saw that, I was a little 13-year-old girl. So, of course, I was in love with that movie. And I remember I started tearing up. I was like, oh, God, this is really getting to me here. And yeah, just now, I mean, I haven't watched that whole movie in a very long time, but because I've seen it so many times from when I was younger, I like know the movie really, really well. And then when I watched it on YouTube, I was like, oh, God, I forgot how much this gets to me.
Well, I think you tear up more just because you know the ending of the movie, too.
Yeah. And it's, oh, man, Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet are fabulous actors. I think they're really, both of them are really, really good. And it's just, they have so much emotion going on in their faces. A lot of my scenes are action scenes or horror scenes. So a lot of it is cinematography and special effects are the things that I'm looking at. But this one is really mostly about the acting. It's they don't say a whole lot in the scene, but they convey so much with their faces. So yeah, that scene really gets to me.
Yeah. Yay, James Cameron.
yeah. He's good at his job. I'll give him that. Did you have any that you wanted to get in your list but just couldn't?
I have a slight honorable mention.
Okay.
Because actually I just watched this again last night with Raina, but it's actually from 13 Going on 30.
Oh, okay. I like that movie.
At the very end, it has Mark Ruffalo and Gardner.
Jennifer Gardner.
Jennifer Gardner. At the very end, she like comes to tell him like, I'm not the person you think I am. If you know that, you would be marrying me instead of this other girl. And he said, no, we've gone separate ways, and she like starts crying. He's like, please don't cry. And she's like, no, I just want you to be happy. I'm fine. And she's like,
holding a
I
little
love you.
dollhouse.
And, and she's like, I love you. And she's like, you're my best friend. And she like turns to leave it. And he's like, I've always loved you.
Yeah.
And I'm just there going, ah.
I know. Yeah. Now that they did that really well. They acted really well.
So
in that
both
scene.
of them, like she is so cute in that movie. She's so gorgeous, and then I love him too. So
yeah. I know exactly what scene you're talking about. Yeah, that's
both
a
Rain
good
and
part.
I tear up every time.
But it has a happy ending. So
Yes, it
that's
does.
good.
So that's why it's such a great movie. So, but that scene every time, he's like, I've always loved you.
Yeah, and the way he says it, he's so like, oh, God, yeah, that's a cute scene. I could see where you'd want to stick that in there. My honorable mention is completely different.
It's a slasher movie.
No, it's from Transformers.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I don't know if you remember this, but the opening scene of the first movie, it's where the helicopter flies in and takes out that whole army base. And it's, I don't remember the name of the Transformer, but anyway, he comes in and he's, you got all these military dudes with guns and they're all like, you have to identify yourself or we're going to open fire on you. And then it just, the propellers move back and then it does its whole morphing thing and it turns into, a Transformer with big guns and all this stuff. And it's shooting all these, destroying all these trucks and weaponry and all this stuff. There's like total chaos going on from this one thing. I think it goes there to get some information off of the computer because I remember it rips off the roof and sticks its hand down on like the big server and is like pulling all the information off of it. And what's his name? Tyrese runs out and he's like, we're being attacked, and he's running around and stuff. And Josh Duhamel comes out and he whisks up the little kid and he goes running to get cover and stuff. And the whole scene, it's a little bit of acting because everybody looks very alarmed. It's definitely the effects because it's it's the first time you see one of these things morph from this object into a transformer, and it's shooting guns and all this crap going on, and the sound too, the sound effects from it makes all those weird robotic sounds when they switch over. And the guns are going off and stuff. There is music. I don't remember the music. It suits the scene, but it didn't stand out to me. But I just really, really liked that scene because it was, it's the opening scene. So and you already know what kind of movie you're going to see. So you're looking to be blown away. And, this one thing did all this destruction because they weren't expecting it. And it was like, oh, it's a helicopter, some guy in it, whatever. And then, no, it turns into this crazy thing and it's just taking out all these people and all this hardware and stuff. So I really, really liked that scene. And then, I was like, wow, all right, I am set for this movie. And the rest, I really, really like the first Transformers movie. I don't really like the two sequels all that much.
That's actually the only one I've seen is the first one.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You're fine. But no, I really do like the first movie. And there's a lot of scenes in that movie that I do really, really enjoy. But that opening scene, I remember when I got that on DVD, I watched it like twice. I'm like, let me just watch this scene again because it's really good. So it like really got me excited for the rest of the movie. So that was my honorable mention. I was hemming and hawing, but that almost made it into the top 5. So that's my list.
So I would have, I'm telling you, I had Jurassic Park, that scene with the T-Rex. So that's the only one we would have matched on. But like this is fun because we learned about like, oh, I should see that. Like, oh, that sounds good. I should see that.
Or like I didn't even think of something from that angle or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we have a pretty good variety too here. I do have a couple of action scenes, but I got the Titanic scene. That's a heartfelt one. The Zodiac one is just creepy and scary. It's scary. Ooh, All right, it's scary for me. You could watch it and just be like, that was stupid.
I like to be scared. I just don't like slasher or killer movies.
It's not like there's like blood flying all over the place. It's just it looks super realistic and there's no music, so it just looks realistic. That's why it's scary.
Okay.
But yeah, no, because I mean, in like slasher movies and stuff, you're kind of just going for the gore. You're not going to get scared because those movies aren't scary. So yeah, and that movie that's a drama. It's not. I wouldn't call that movie a horror movie.
Okay.
But it's about a serial killer.
All right. So if you guys have any opinions on our scenes, or any other scenes you think we should see, let
tell
us know.
Some of yours. Yeah.
And we'll post those links on our our Facebook page.
Yeah, Facebook would be the easiest, I'd say. But yeah, we really like those scenes for lots of different reasons.
Yeah.
But I always like to talk to people about stuff like that, just because there's so much that goes into movies, from of course the acting and the directing and the screenwriting, but the sound design, special effects, cinematography is a really big thing. The way it's shot, there's a lot. Makeup, costume design, set design, there's so much stuff that goes into scenes. And I really really digging it. So yeah, that was our first Dorks in Debate, little offshoot podcast here. So we don't really have a set schedule for these. We'll just do them as we want. But I mean, the normal podcast, we will keep doing those weekly, unless we both go on vacation or it's a holiday.
Or birthdays or
something something out of the ordinary. But yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, it was.
All right, well, thanks everybody.
Thanks for listening.